Caesarea Philippi, false gods, and the relevance of Christian life, confessing Jesus is the Lord. To understand the gospel passage from Matthew chapter 16, 13 to 20, it's good to know why did Jesus ask the question at Caesarea Philippi, who do you say I am? Who do people say that he is? Because it was the northern part of Israel, 25 miles away from the Sea of Galilee, where 100 feet of wall height and 500 feet of width of niche where idols of false god were placed. And in that background, Jesus asked the question, who do you say I am? Today, we can ask the question, who are our false God? And today, how people seek fulfillment and meaning through these false gods, mirroring today's pursuit of materialism, fame, instant gratification. This calls us for the question of identity. Jesus questioned the disciples about his identity. Who do you say that I am? Peter emphasizes acknowledging Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God. This gospel passage calls us this morning, this Sunday, to relate to a modern world filled with distraction and false ideologies. Caesarea Philippi, a place with pagan temples and backdrop of false gods. We explore in the gospel the significance of Jesus calling Peter the rock upon which he will build his church. This explains the symbolic handing over of the keys to the kingdom, representing authority and leadership within the church. This gospel calls us to reject false gods, to reject worldly distractions and ideologies that leads us away from God-centric life. This passage drives us to the importance of discernment in recognizing the false idols in our lives. We need to connect the relevance of Caesarea Philippi to our modern Christian living. Church provides moral and spiritual guidance, helping us to navigate a world filled with false gods and distraction. We are here to identify who the false gods are. You see in the slide the backdrop of Caesarea Philippi, originally called Panias. That area was named for the god Pan. Pan supposedly didn't exist, but in mythology, Pan was born in a cave in that area, and this area was named after the god Pan originally. Now the city, by the time you come to the Lord's Day, is full of idols. The idols everywhere. You will notice it called Caesarea. They renamed it away from Pan to give honor to Caesar. Caesar Augustus was the Caesar that was given this honor. He of course believed that he was a deity and needed to be worshipped. In this background, Jesus asked a question, who do you say that I am? Do you worship the God of the idols? Do you worship the false God? Or do you worship the Caesar Augustus? How are we to fight false gods in modern times and to embrace authentic faith? First, it calls to recognize false gods in our lives. Second, it is called towards discernment. Third, towards turning to Christ's example. Today, we constantly are called to reflect which are the false gods we worship that manifest in materialism, consumerism, social media, addiction, fame, and power. The pressure to accumulate possession or seek validation through likes and shares on the social media is one of the things. Second is a call to discernment. We are called to discern in identifying false gods in our lives. Pause for a moment. Just spend half an hour in a week and find out, whom am I serving? What type of life I'm living? Do I see God's plan in my life? This comes from prayer, self-reflection, spiritual guidance, helps us to differentiate between what truly matters and what leads us astray. Third, turning to Christ's example. Jesus resisted the temptation of false gods during his earthly life. We know what happened at the desert. The devil tempted him, but he said, I've come to do the will of the Father. Jesus' response to Satan's temptation in the desert, focusing on his commitment to the Father's will. Are we ready to turn from the false gods internally to accept Jesus our Lord by a commitment, by following his commands? By building, by cultivating, by finding, by nourishing, we fight the false gods in modern times and embraced authentic faith. Building a strong foundation based on faith rather than pursuing fleeting desires. We need to draw a parallel between the wise and the foolish builders in Matthew chapter 7, 24-27. Are we foolish or wise? Is my foundation based on faith and trusting in God, or is my faith and foundation based on false gods of the world whom I serve? Cultivating authentic relationship. The impact of false gods on relationship causing distance and lack of genuine connection. We have to prioritize screens over face-to-face conversation. Valuing material possession over quality time with loved ones. Today, unfortunately, people spend so much time on screen, watching the gadgets, iPads, iPhones, Androids, games. Where is the personal touch, face-to-face conversation? Is it all about work? It's all about money? It's all about a rat race? Or take time to spend quality time with loved ones? Finding fulfillment in God's love. False gods can leave us empty and unfulfilled. True happiness is found in God. The purpose, by letting go of worldly desires and embracing God's love, can only come through prayer, sacrifice, commitment, and constantly touch with the Lord, nourishing our own souls. Prayer plays an important role, scriptures, sacraments, in strengthening our resistance to false gods. We are all called to engage in practices that deepen our relationship with God. That's the only way we can nourish our souls. False gods can only nourish short-term happiness. For a long-term nourishing of souls, we need to engage in deeper relationship with God. Let's have an action plan. May our lives shine as a testament to the power of faith. Let's recognize false gods, turning to Christ's example, building a strong foundation, cultivating authentic relationship, finding fulfillment in God's love, and nourishing our soul. Let's encourage prayer for strength, discernment, and the grace to prioritize God's kingdom over the temporary allure of false God. Jesus said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter said in reply, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Let's fight false gods in our modern life and times and embrace authentic faith.